Hey, what's up? Um, I've said before that I'm a reader. I love to read, and it's hard for me to watch movies based on books. Usually because they suck. Not necessarily that they suck, but that they're not as good as the book. And the reason that movies aren't as good as books is basically because they can't express everything that happened. So you have a book, it starts here, it ends here, the middle is filled with all kinds of things. Movies go plink, 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 and then they're done. So you never get the full exposition on the story when you're watching a movie, which is okay for some movies. Rarely you'll find a movie that I thought worked better than a book. That does happen occasionally. Um, but as far as book based movies go, luckily for us, in October, we have one which not only has the film stood the test of time, but in my estimation, the film, although they do it differently than the book, I don't really find one better than the other. For the medium that they're covering, the book is about as good as you can get, and this movie is about as good as you can get, honestly. The Exorcist. Now, for me, this is probably the best movie based on a book that was ever made. If you got one in your mind that you can think of that I should check out, let me know in the comments. Please comment. um, this movie is fucking awesome, dude. The score lends to this moody atmosphere of eerie creepiness. Um, all the special effects in this movie, from the practical effects to the virtual effects, they're all strong. They're not. Um, what virtual effects there are so constrained as to not be capable of really making the movie worse like it has already for many others that I've reviewed. And we all know that if the practical effects in a movie sucks, it just kind of like detracts you out of it a little bit. And in this particular movie, that doesn't happen. Um, Obviously, I would say most people have watched this movie by this point. If you haven't, it might dip a little bit into what you would consider spoilers or whatnot. I'm not totally sure, but if you've never seen this film, it is a must watch. If you've avoided it because you're religious and you've been told it's a sacrilegious film, that's incorrect. Um, this this movie and the point of it believe in the power of Christ being able to compel you, and not only you, but also demons out of places where they don't belong. Now, I'm not a particularly religious person. I did grow up in a religious family, so I kind of have a heart for religious people. I know they sometimes can bother people, but if someone's wishing you will go to heaven, I can't really be like too mad. You might not like their methods. You might think that they're wrong in their estimation of things that they have to say. But can you really be mad at someone who just wants you to go to heaven? I don't, they think you're gonna like burn in a fiery pit for all eternity. That's what they consider is gonna happen to you after death, and they're vehemently trying to convince you otherwise because they don't want to see that happen to you. That doesn't sound like a bad person. Might be an annoying person, but not a bad person. So, if anyone's watching this who's a vehement atheist who is always irritated by religious people, particularly Christians because we live in America, you should probably be trying to find a way to let that go a little bit. Let it wash over you. um, this movie, as a kid, obviously it did not scare me. I don't know, it's not a scary movie, although it's probably among the scarier ones that I've watched this year. And the reason being, as a parent, you cannot imagine losing your child just straight up to demonic possession, and you don't know what's going on, and that would just be crazy. Hi, Shadow. We can see your shadow. Hi. Are you a pretty baby dog? I'm talking about that movie we watched together that you were creeped out by. Remember, you kept hiding your face because you were scared? She's a chicken and a dog. So, this movie, when I was a kid, it, I wouldn't say it scared me, but I thought it was creepy and unsettling. There's a few parts of it that are very unsettling. But an unsettling film is one of those things where I find that to be better for my viewing of a horror movie than, visceral gore, which just isn't scary. It might be gross, but unsettling things happening, especially to a parent. As now I'm a parent, been one for quite some time, and I haven't watched this movie since I was probably 15. And to watch it now, I was really feeling for the mother. And the acting in this whole thing is just remarkable. This was back when people had to act. You had to really be able to do it. You couldn't just, fake it like they do now. Oh, another thing. The sets on these movies. They went places and they filmed in locations. It makes a big fucking difference, man. You don't feel like... it's hard to explain it. It feels wild and uninhabited because the way that they make movies now that aren't shot on location, you set a location in a place, and although they do an incredible job, I'm not trying to downplay the work that they do, but it gives it an aesthetic of controlled, and you can really tell when they're on location in wild places, and the feel is truly untamed. You just step into every scene, and it just has an authenticity to it that you don't feel a lot of times in certain other kinds of movies. When I was saying earlier, the acting in this thing is badass. This was from the time when you had to be able to act. Otherwise, they weren't really making films, man. I don't know how this thing didn't win Academy Awards. Probably because it was a horror movie or whatever. Maybe it did win an Academy Award. I'm just babbling. I don't even know if an Academy Award is related to movies or television. So let's we'll just stop talking about that, Lucas. The acting is strong in this thing. Yes, I'll give you paw. Hi, I love you. I love you. Come here. You want to see? I know you hate cameras, but you want to get on one really fast? They can see you. So, Linda Blair in this thing, it's probably the best child performance of all time. She's just remarkable for a kid to go from just a happy-spirited little kid to feeling ill and becoming mildly creepier to increasingly creepy to clearly demonically possessed to violently possessed to grateful to be relieved of this. She was awesome in this movie. She was 12 years old, just a little baby kid, and in a strong cast of people who were killing it around her. She was the best part of the film, and that was between everything. The cinematography is remarkable, the score is remarkable, the acting is remarkable, and she is the most remarkable part of all of it. Now, I know this movie might be unsettling for some religious people. I would still suggest to watch it. It is a quality film. If you're not religious, I would watch it. If you're an atheist, I would still watch it, because good movies only come through so few and far between. Gotta take advantage of them when they're here. I give this one a 10. The Exorcist is a 10. Still to this day. It just holds way up. And, please comment on this video. Like, share, rate, subscribe.